Today we are going to look at a really neat feature that Canvas has within each of its courses called conferences. We're going to start by clicking on our tropical cooking course. On the navigation bar you will see conferences. Now what are conferences? Conferences can be used to lecture to a group of students. They can be used for virtual office hours, and they also can be used just to set up a one-on-one time with the student to look at maybe a topic they're struggling with or something that you need to be able to talk to them and show them where the miscommunication is. Now, it's important to note that only 10 students can be in a conference at one time. So we're going to start by looking at how to set up a conference. There at the top of your screen, you will see the Add Conference option. Now, here are your settings for this conference. You'll see that the name defaults to our course name. So for best practices, we really need to go in there and name that something that relates to the content we'll be covering in this conference. So for this one, we're going to use this as virtual office hours. The next option there is type. That you can honestly just skip over because the only type for conferences is the big blue button. The next option is duration. So this is set to 60 minutes. You can put whatever amount of time in there that you have available. It's also important to note that if this is a lecture or maybe this is a one-on-one with a student and you're not sure how long that will take, you can choose the no time limit option, and that just opens that window if you don't have a set amount of time. You also have the option there to enable recording for this conference. So if this is something that the students might need to go back and reference or look at again, I would definitely recommend recording it. In the description box, this is where you will want to put what you're going to go over in this conference. Again, if this is virtual office hours, I might just put in there, I'm going to answer any questions students might have or show something they might be struggling with. But if this is a specialized conference, you're going to be covering a certain topic, you definitely will want to put a description in there. Now under members, which is listed below the settings, you'll see you have an option to invite all course members. So if this is something that the whole class will be looking at, or of course in sections of 10 students, then you can leave that checked. But if this is a one-on-one with a student, or maybe you and maybe a group of 3 students, you will want to uncheck that option, and you'll see when you uncheck that, my student Carson D. Newman appeared. So this is where your class roster will show, so you can choose which students need to be in this conference. So we're just going to go back and choose Invite All Course Members and hit Update. Now you'll see under New Conferences, here's the conference we just created. Now for students to be able to join your conference, the professor has to start the conference first. Okay, so you'll see to the right of the title is the Start button, and it will open the conference. So as soon as you open the conference, it's going to ask you to join with either a microphone or a listen only. That is same for the students. I'm just going to exit out here. Now this is what the conference will look like. So you'll see here that the students can chat with you. Right here, it's a public chat, so they can carry on a conversation that way. That will be important if for some reason your student does not have a microphone on their computer, they can still communicate with you. So we have the chat option. We also have the webcam and audio option, which would work where you all can see each other, you can talk with each other, and you can work through the issues or discuss the topics in that way. You also have screen sharing, where if you need to share your screen with them, to show them something, or vice versa. They can share their screen back with you. Now, something else really neat that conferencing has is a whiteboard. So you'll see here, if I move my mouse down, it says slide 1. I can click to the right and it pulls up the whiteboard. So here you have these options on the far right side, and if you click the little hand, you'll see that you have a pencil, you have an area where you can type to the students, you can draw shapes if you need to. This way you can just display to the students, if you need to draw out, maybe a math equation, you can show them and walk them through that process. Now, one other important thing to note within conferences, down here at this plus button, if you click here, you'll see you have start a poll. So if you wanted to poll your students, if any of you all have taken webinars, you've used polling some, you have that option. You also can upload a presentation. So if you've created a PowerPoint that you need to go over with the students in the conference, you can upload that presentation and do so. You also can share an external video. Now, down in the middle of the screen here, you have your audio, your camera, and your screen sharing. So at any time within the conference, you can turn those off. So if you're sharing something with the students, your screen, and then now you don't need to anymore, you can turn that off and go back to just a face-to-face webcam interaction. Okay, so we're going to click back to our conference page here, and you'll see now that we are in the conference, the student has the option to join. As the professor, you have the option to end that conference, okay? And it's also going to give you just this little reminder that this conference is in progress. Now, if for some reason you create the settings for this conference and maybe the description's wrong, you can move to the right here to this little gear, which is a setting, and you can choose that, and it's going to give you an edit. This will give you the option to edit that description. Maybe you forgot to invite a student. It'll give you that opportunity to hop back in there and fix that really quickly. Now, once this conference has ended, it will move down here to the concluded conferences. And again, if you create this conference and it's just not a good time for your students and no one is able to hop in, you can come back to the settings and delete it. So you have that option as well.